I'm Grant.
Welcome to No Enemies Here, the show where we have a great time. I have a great time. Okay? And if you don't have a great time, get lost! Have a great time. Be nice. That's what I say all the time. It's like I'm trying to convince myself to be nice. Huh? By the way, we have a new code for Noble Night, and I think it's good till Tuesday. I'm gonna put it up here. Huh? I gotta get used to here, whatever, you know, but I'm putting it up here, and that's why I got so much space here, so I can put up stuff. And also, we have Ricardo in the house. We have Dave in the house. I wrote a letter to Wojennik, and he's doing okay, and he's gonna be redoing videos again. If anybody wants to do a video of their channel on what happened during last week, instead of me blabbing my mouth, send a video. It's nice. It's a bit of a, you know, diversion. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, if I was really, really good looking, I know I'm just handsome and I'm a handsome devil, but if I was extremely good looking, you know, like nobody, man. Nobody. You know, they broke the mold when I came up. But anyways, enough of that. We had a great show on everything you wanted to know about war games, but we're afraid to ask. We had Jess from Noble Night. We had the guys from the Farmer's Aid, the Player's Aid, Grant and the other guy. And Artie. Artie was in a car. I have no idea why he was in a car. I don't know, whatever. And it was a lot of fun. The code was divulged there. I forget who won the code, because we had, like, for the first half hour, we had whoever chooses the code, Noble Knight will give you an extra $20 plus the 10%. It was a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? So the code should be here. And yeah. So, lock and load news. They have Point Blank. V is for victory in the house. They got the man from Glad holding a box. And the big pallet. Showing you that they got games that they're shipping out. And I know they're shipping out because I got news, but I can't say anything. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. I signed a NDA. I'm like David Thompson. You know what I'm saying? Who are you, David Thompson? I'm a game designer, he says. Okay. So, look, David Heath emailed me and he said, there are limited quantities for people who want to get it. Get it now or forever hold your peace. Okay? Because these are strange times. I just heard that butter is going up 70%. 70%. We pay a pound of butter here $5.50. 70% of that is $1 million. Okay? So, use olive oil. I like butter a lot, though. And don't dismiss in your pasta when you're frying it up in the frying pan. Frying it up in your frying pan. Yeah. When you're frying it up in your frying pan, like you cook your linguine, whatever, then you make your sauce, you put it in the frying pan, and you throw it up and down. Slab a shot of butter, or shot a slab of butter, whatever. Just do it. And talk to me. You know what I'm saying? So, that's it for Lock and Load News. Go on their website, check it out. And also, San Diego Historicon. Things are moving fast. I wanted to go. Money's tight. Like everybody else, money's tight. I mean, if you're in San Diego, it's a much easier thing. But if you're 3,000 miles away, logistically it's okay. Moneyistically is not okay. Hey, look, I'm going back to work on Monday after a month and a week off. My hand is finally healing. I don't have the strength that I had, but it's coming back. And I'd like to thank everybody for giving me the you're gonna get through it, Dan, kind of thing. San Diego Historicon. Wish I could be there, man. San Diego in November. Seeing the big guy and seeing Bobby Nunez. You know? Fun, man. What can I say? I'll probably even see Carl Creeder. I'm telling you. Carl Creeder. Crater. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot of fun. Those are my California friends. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe those guys smoke a bit of weed. I don't. I just grow it and give it away because here we're allowed. I give it away. You know why I give it away? Because I love my friends. And it's weed. You can pass my ex-mother-in-law on it and it'll still grow. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, look. Let's have a good show. Don't forget all the news I gave you. The code. San Diego. Lock and load. And be nice. And have a good show.
You don't know who I am, but I know who you are, and precisely what you want. You see, I have a very particular set of skills. One is knowing a great war game when I see one. Point Blank V is for Victory is one of them. A tactical squad-level card war game, designed by Sean Drulinger, and published by Lock and Load Publishing. Order Point Blank V is for Victory today. If you don't, you will regret it. I will look for you, and I will find you. So order now, and avoid any unpleasantries. You can find Point Blank V is for Victory at store.lnlpublishing.com. Order it today. Supplies are limited, and make sure to tell them Liam sent you.
Hello, this is Riccardo Mazzini, and this time the greatest day in history and games is September 8th to September 10th, 1480 BC. 3 days when one of the greatest empires in the history of the world was stopped by just a few hundred of brave soldiers defending a narrow pass. That was the Battle of the Thermopylae. When the height of the so-called classical era of Greece, when the several bellicose city-states of the Hellenes, constantly at war with each other, suddenly faced an existential threat from their dangerous neighbor, the Persian Achaemenid Empire. In fact, we should not consider that empire just as an authoritarian, theocratical state in the modern sense of the word. It was more a collection of very different peoples owing their allegiance to an emperor, choose simple tributes, and levy in case of war. Among these peoples composing this highly civilized society, there were some ethnical Greek colonies in Anatolia and modern-day Turkey. And when they revolted, the Persians decided to act in order to subjugate those irritating Greeks up to the last city in the Peloponnesian. The first tribe was Emperor Darius, who invaded Greece with a powerful army transported by a great fleet. But those forces were utterly defeated on the landing grounds near the plain of Marathon. The invasion of Greece was then part-annulled, but when Darius died while campaigning in Egypt, his son Xerxes decided to complete his father's work. He gathered a big army, traversed the Hellespont from Asia into Europe through a gigantic pontoon bridge, a true marvel of engineering, and then proceeded south to ask every single Greek city he met for a symbolic tribute, earth and water. At that time, the two main cities were Athens and Sparta, and acting in unison, for the first time, they quickly managed to form an anti-Persian alliance among most of the other Greek cities. A plan was quickly devised. HEXES would have to be stopped at two key strategic locations. The Athenian fleet would block the sea strait of Cape of Emision, while the Spartan army would lead a combined land contingent towards the pass of the Thermopylae. That was a very narrow coastal pass in the north of Greece, with its name meaning the hot doors. It was a thermal area upon which the Phocians had built a series of doors and walls to contain the enemies of the other city-states. And now it would be a perfect place to fight the much larger Persian army, even with just a phalanx of well-armed and well-disciplined hoplites. There was a problem, however. That is, the festivity of the Carneades, a holy recurrence preventing the Spartans from marching into war with their main army. So King Leonidas decided to go on a private trip to the north of Greece with just a handful of friends, 300 soldiers of his personal guard, handpicked one by one for what was clearly a suicide mission. When they reached the Thermopylae, they had been joined by a few hundreds of other Greek soldiers coming from Euboea, Thespis, but in front of them was the imperial army of tens, if not hundreds of thousands, of ferocious enemy soldiers. We'll know what happened next, because from this point onward, the Battle of the Thermopylae leaves history and enters into the realm of legend. The great struggle between the few Greek warriors and the countless Persian hordes, the clever feigned retreats and the unshakable will to resist of the Spartans and their allies, the betrayal of Ephialtes who showed the path that allowed Xerxes to surround the Greek position, and the final sacrifice of Leonidas and his fellow Greek warriors. I have to say, it is impossible not to remind here the movie 300, taken from the graphic novel by Frank Miller, and let me tell you, even with all its weird distortions, that movie had, in my opinion, a very subtle but strong historical value, because that's exactly how a Greek of that time would have imagined the battle, a vision of bravery and honor in face of monstrosity and utter darkness, giving him the strength and resolution to win the two later battles that made the Persian victory at Thermopylae just a prelude for their final defeat. The naval battle of Salamis and the land battle of Plataea. The Persian invasion would be stopped. Xerxes repulsed and Greece left free to destroy itself in the following Peloponnesian War. But that's another story. And also, the game of this episode, even if apparently just a small game with small wooden cubes and a couple of nice cards, has its own subtle but strong historical value. 300. Earth and Water. Designed by the great Japanese author Yasushi Nakaguro, this is a textbook example of how, with a few very clever and calibrated small rules, you can recreate the main dynamics of a historical event, obtaining plausibility without too much complexity. The game is divided in various turns following the main Persian expeditions, and in each of those turns you will have to build your resources with cards and troops, decide where to strike and where to defend, use the best features of your armies, and prepare insidious traps for your enemy. The experience is very tense. Even a local victory can lead to a final defeat. Every card can have devastating effects, and all the asymmetries between the Greeks and the Persians are masterfully depicted. This is a real gem, a simulation that is both light and deep at the same time. Domo arigato, Nakaguro-sensei. So, that's it for this week. See you on the next battlefield. Ciao!
On to the news. The Players Aid have 6 videos out. Man, these guys are working this week. The first video is a review of Plains Indian Wars from GMT, a game by John Paniski. Then, those lucky guys got to unbox David Thompson's Lazarus Ridge. It's a DVG game, and they're doing a solo playthrough. I think it's the other guy, not Grant. And it's 4 videos of a solo playthrough of David Thompson's Lazarus Ridge. On Tank Chats number 162, they talk about the Springer tank. And this is a German demolition vehicle. I mean, look at it. It's ugly. Gimpy of the Gimpy Gamer. 4 videos out this week. Point Blank Solitaire example. Don't forget, it's out. Go to Point Blank website. Get your game. Also, Blood Red Skies Battle of Midway and Resist giveaway winner. Resist is a new game. I don't know who it's from, but I'm going to inquire. I should have had it here. Hey, this is where you come and get the news. Also, review through part 6 of Herman Lutman's fantastic, a most fearful sacrifice, a game published by not Tiny Battle Publishing, Flying Pig Games. And Tony of Tony's Board Life, 5 videos this week. Everybody is like really ramming in the videos. I think school started. He has 3 videos out on Fields of Fire, the Naktong River Cloverleaf attempt, turns 1 through 6, and also a video of the Greatest Day, unboxing the Greatest Day Juno, Sword Juno and Gold. This is an MMP game. And look at that handsome man, Devin. Heroes of the Bitter Harvest. A second ever Heroes of the Bitter Harvest unboxing. I think there was just a limited amount of review copies that Lock and Load passed around. And Tony was lucky. U-Boater 658. Case Geld. 3 videos on Case Geld. Savannah Finally Falls. And Japanese Beachhead Overrun. And German Stopped at Mobile. Mobile? It's in the States. Mobile. I don't know about that. And 2 other videos on Traveler. There's a character creation and management tool, and episode 6 of Initial Survey Complete of Traveler's Companion RPG, that is. War Stories, 3 videos this week. The Hunt for the Legendary U-Boat Ace and the Bataan Death March. Also, America vs. Japan, the struggle for New Guinea. Warrior plays World War II, 4 videos. I'm telling you, these guys, they're hammering videos out. He's creating a solo naval wargaming campaign. Also, there's a face of a guy there that says, Happy Dice Rolling Paul. That's gotta be Paul. And a summary War of 1812 campaign on Lake Erie. I think it's a solo playthrough. And Barkman's Corner 3, Fistful of Lead, Bigger Battles. Fistful of Lead sounds like a Clint Eastwood movie done by Sergio Leone. On Wars of the World, 2 videos out. Australia's key alliance in the Vietnam War. The 60,000 Australians who fought in the Vietnam War. 60,000, man. That's like, how many battalions is that? 10? I don't know. Anyways. Also, the longest recorded siege in military history. All this on Wars of the World. And the cop, he's a good cop. That is Wayne Hansen. He's doing 2 live chats this week. Wargaming accessories and controversy scandal swag sent to board game reviewers. That guy, he likes to poke the bear, this guy. You know what I mean? Also a sneak peek on War Diary number 20, where they have Il Duce's face there, Mussolini, what a clown. And top 6 solitaire war games of 2021. Do I agree with him? Absolutely not. But hey, that's why we're there. And Wojennik of Wojennik TV has 4 videos this week. I would say that 3 of them are in Polish. I don't even know what to say there. And Sekigahara is in English, the unification of Japan. Also, KCLO, an unboxing in Polish, and a sci-fi game called Eclipse. Last time I checked, about 5 years ago, I think it was $80. You could probably get it today for $500,000. But, hey, inflation. The fantastic channel that is World War II Indy Nidell and friends, Spartacus, and everybody else. 3 videos out. Kharkov changes hands for the 4th time. It's Manstein there. And also the astonishing Nazi underground slave factories. Yeah. What's his face? The architect. Whatever. And what would the Nazis say about this? It's a blooper reel. You know what? Great channel. They almost have 1 million subscribers, which is it's a feat. Okay. Zilla Blitz, that guy. 5 videos out. Lazarus Ridge, an unboxing, game by David Thompson. Also, Saving South Vietnam. That's a playthrough. And 2 videos on trucks. You heard me right. And an extra video on Saving South Vietnam. Hey, he's putting in his war game chops. Don't discount the guy. Smart War Games. Artwork by Shinden. Look at the amount of videos this guy's got out. Hey, that's just this week. I mean, okay, so he does Counter-Strike and Hornet Leader by DVG and Down in Flames. And, I mean, Battlefield Balkan. My God. And also DVG Battle for Stalingrad in Vassal. I think that's the card game. Check this guy out. Hey, it's gotta tickle someone's fancy. 6 actual 3 videos out. Zombies, The Night, unboxing, and going to Pacificon. I wish I was going to. Also, Alien, Fate of the Nostromo, an unboxing. That's not the legendary one, eh? No, absolutely not. I played legendary Aliens. I had a good time. Died many, many times. Artie of ARDWULF'S Lair slacking off with only 2 videos. What did he do? Did he just buy a new house and he's got to fix it up or something? He's counter-clipping the best of SPI. I was an Avalon Hill guy. It's funny, eh? There's either or. That's what I find. SPI. I don't know, there was missing something for me. It was less colorful on the packaging and all that, but whatever. Also, he's unboxing Crossing the Line. Aachen, 1944, the 2022 second edition. And the father and daughter team of Back to the Table, where they all have fun. Favorite games to teach new players. Look at it. Young lady, older guy, there's got to be something one of your children is going to get into. Watch Back to the Table. And there she is, Liz Davidson, Beyond Solitaire. It's time for another Mike Lambo game. This guy's all over the place, man. You know, but Wayne Hanson's got something to say about that. I'll let you watch his video. This is Ghosts of the Jungle, a solitaire game. You and your squad must sneak through the trees and complete objectives during the Vietnam War. It's scary for me. It is. Big Board Gaming, 5 videos out. One of them, Vietnam Operation Starlight. He gives you his comments and a giveaway, catch up and more. That's another video. And COP Keating, setup and game plan. COP. I'm sure that's an acronym. And Vietnam Operation Starlight, play number 3, conclusion. All this on Big Board Gaming. and the chief of bonding with board games and RPGs, 2 videos out. He reviews Assault Red Horizon 41 and continues Evil Twilight 2000, The Farm Compound, Season 1, Episode 29. The man, famously known as Calandale, Enrico Viglino, has 6 videos this week. 2 of them on Spanish Main, wrap-up and review. Also, he talks about Fog of War. And the 3 other videos are Empire Builder, the intro, parts 1 and parts 2. Cataclysm Now. New channel. Looks at Midway, Pacific War, a GMT game. Pacific War, is he playing the new one or the old one? Nasach. Also, Historicity and Axis and Allies, Pacific 1940, on Cataclysm Now. Combat Board Games honors us with 2 videos. War Game Witchcraft, The Origin of the CDG. The origin of the CDG. Also looking at battle books, Hastings and Arnhem. Check it out. I checked out his channel and I bought a game. It works. It works, this reviewing stuff, man. I'm telling you. Consim World. Okay, this is new for us. John Krantz is at the CSW Expo, the Consim World Expo in Tempe, Arizona 2022. He has 3 videos out. The opening night, day 1, and Thursday walkthrough. That's fun. That is fun. I can't be there. I think I would die to be there with the heat. It would just freaking kill me. And from Down Under, Dad versus Son. 4 videos, 3 of them on combat, I should say 4, but 3 of them on scenario number 13, Find That Radio. So that's turns 10 to 13, and starts scenario number 14, Defend the CP. This is a setup. Dave's Gaming Cave, 3 videos out, all on U-Boat Leader. Operation Drumbeat. So, parts 1 through 3. That's weird. Try to say that. Through 3. Okay. Diagonal Moves. 3 videos out. Excuse me. This is live. What can I tell you? Diagonal Moves. 3 videos out. Flamme Rouge, Tour de France. Tour de France. Craftwork, huh? So, stages 1 through 21. You ever watch a Tour de France? Yeah. I don't know, I don't find it too exciting. But what can I tell you? Also, the Gamer's Closet. Look at all these videos. Let's dust off that old game. So this is something I checked out this week. And he plays all the old games, all the old Hasbro games, General Food games, and he plays some old war games. Look, it's a lot of fun. They're half an hour. You want to check out how to play Gilligan's Island? God, it's gonna be a stupid game. Check it out on the Gamer's Closet. Only here on No Enemies Here. Through 3. GG of the Geek Gamers. 2 videos out, Shadows of Malice 2nd edition and Random Literary Dungeons. On Geek Gamers. Hex to Hex, 3 videos out, Lock and Load Publishing Unboxing Part 1. Unboxing Part 1? You know what I'm saying? Also, Crossing the Line, 2 videos out, turns 5 and 6, and a review of Crossing the Line. I think it's a VUCA simulations game. Hexed and Countered, 2 videos out, both the same subject, The Long Road, playthrough of scenario number 6, parts 1 and parts 2. AJ Toyen B, Hexes and Soldiers. Jason Cruz, that's all the same person. 2 videos out, the Prussian Army finished, mostly he says, and an epic Waterloo. Plankenoid, Plancenois, Preamble Battle Tattle. For God's sakes, through 3. You know what I'm saying? On History Hustle, The Iron Guard. This is a great channel, by the way. Romania's fascist movement. Mussolini went far, man. What can I tell you? Kurt of ID Jester. 6 videos out. One of them called Board Game Ranking of all my 192 games. Holy moly. And opened the box, GMT plus a second board game, ... Then he talks about Dune Imperium Rise of 9 solo playthrough. Also unboxing Little Saturn Winter Storm. That's the expansion to Stalingrad, if I'm not mistaken, by Mark Simonich. And Great Battles of Julius Caesar Deluxe Edition by GMT. And he goes back to Dune Imperium Rise of 9 solo playthrough, as I think as Duke Leto. Respect. Jim Ozarski, 3 videos this week. The Scottish Corridor for Crossfire. I keep forgetting money for Shackles for Crossfire. What's he saying here? Also, the Battle of Utitsa for Shackles 2. And the Battle of Quatre Bras for La Salle 2. For all our Spanish viewers, Julius Fairfax, von Manstein's Triumph. So this is a game by NAC. I don't know what it is. It could be in Spanish. This is a block game. And it's, I think, the battle for Sevastopol in the Second World War. If I can read my Spanish correctly. Probably not. KilRoyWasHere! No video again this week, Kilroy. That's okay. You know, everybody's busy. 6 videos out this week. And I actually saw the 1-hour video from Pea Ridge National Military Park. I loved it. Alright? I had a great time. I can't go there, or I should go there one day. And a lot of history, man. A lot of history. Also, Musket and Pike Dual Pack, an unboxing and brief overview, and Coffee with Kilroy, Lazarus Ridge Companion Book. Also, he unboxes Lazarus Ridge and gives us a brief overview. That's a David Thompson game, plus the Battle of Stalingrad unboxing, and thank you. This was by TPS Publications, if I'm not mistaken. And the Lock and Load Tactical Heroes of the Bitter Harvest. I think he was one of the ones who got the review copies. On that wonderful channel that is Kings and Generals. Excuse me. 3 videos out this week. How HIMARS changed the war in Ukraine. HIMARS. You know what I'm saying? Australia's Thermopylae battle over Isurava. That's the Pacific War. That's another video. And the last video on Kings and Generals is Carthage raised again, early Muslim expansion. This week on Kings and Generals. Legendary Tactics. 5 videos out, I should say 6 videos out this week. Scythe, Invaders from Afar, board game reboxing. And the top 10 games from Avalon Hill. So, Avalon Hill's 1975 The Hotness list. You know, it's pretty cool. Top 10 board games by SPI. Are these simulations? He says. And Catan, love it or hate it. I don't like it, like at all. And are you smart enough to play? Can you understand? I don't know, it's gotta be like a 5th grader. Like, are you smarter than a 5th grader? Probably not. And 7 play styles from the Diplomacy board game. All this on Legendary Tactics. Lionheart Filmworks. Countdown to Looking Glass, 1984 Cold War, video, 1984. And Vietnam, Part 18, Hamburger Hill. Don't like the sound of that. And Time Watch, Shadow of Jack the Ripper, a 1988 documentary or movie, and Glory, deleted scenes from that American Civil War movie. On Little Wars TV, 9-player Pyrrhic War, or Pyrrhic, not Pyrrhic. I read it the way I see it, but it's not written that way. 9-player Pyrrhic War campaign, turn number 4. Follow them on Little Wars TV. And Lock and Load Publishing News Flash. Point Blank is in the house. So join David Heath, Devin DOG, and Sean Drulinger, the designer of Point Blank. And Marco, OmniGamer, 2 videos out. The Big Guys Game, Harold Buchanan, Flashpoint, South China Seas, a review. And War of the Ring, the card game review. Talking about War of the Ring, let me take a little side addendum here. I watched Rings of Power. And being a Lord of the Rings fan, a Tolkien fan, having read the popular books like The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and Silmarillion, I was disappointed. Was it Were the effects good? Well, I hope so. They paid $500 million to make, I think, the first season or something like that. And it was 2 episodes, and the thing is, the characters, they were forgettable. Other than Galadriel, and even then, I thought it didn't hold a flame to Peter Jackson's character development in the characters in the Fellowship. So, what can I tell you? That was it. On to the news! The Vampire, that is Mark Felton. Dr. Mark Felton of Mark Felton Production has 2 videos this week. The Last Luftwaffe Raid in 1945, and what happened to Nazi leaders' luxury planes. I actually checked it out. That was pretty cool. Mole of Mole's Game Table, 4 videos out. The first one being Iron Thunder from Chiswick Games. This is a Kickstarter preview. And Flashpoint South China Seas, a game by Harold Buchanan, the big guy. So Harold, the big guy Buchanan, a game published by GMT. And Invaders from Dimensions X. This is a Tiny Battle Publishing, and it's a preview. That's an older game. I think it's a lot of fun. B-movie minding, and you're going to have a lot of fun. Also, Compass Games, Learn to Play 15, the Third World War. On Movie Central. Great movies every day. You can watch Town Wolf, Samuel Bleak, Ditched, A Killer Next Door, Backwater. And who wouldn't want to watch the iconic Bull Shark? On My Own Worst Enemy, one movie, it is Red Horizon 41, turn 5 in his gameplay. So it's Assault, Red Horizon 41, on My Worst Enemy. On the Nerd Workshop, Victory in the Pacific, turn 1 and POC. You know what I mean? What's POC? Point of contention. Look, I took a guess. Good guess. On Next War Series, it's been 2 years this guy hasn't been on. Poland, 2nd edition and supplement, number 3 unboxing and unbagging. This is a game designed by Mitchell Land, system designed by Gene Billingsley, and it is published by GMT. Patrick's Tactics and Tutorials, 2 videos out. Command and Colors, Ancients, and Here Come the Rebels, scenario number 7. Patrick's Tactics and Tutorials. Pushing Cardboard, Buffalo Wings, an unboxing. This is a game by LPS. I've always liked that cover. Always. Always. What more can I say? And a 97-year-old World War II veteran describes the horror of war, the Battle of the Bulge. His name is Jack Moran, and he served with the 87th Infantry Division. And he describes his first experiences in combat and coming across fellow American casualties, which is a shock to a 19-year-old. I don't know what to say. That's, I'm 19 years old. I was hanging around in a, I don't know, in a bar somewhere, acting stupid. This guy was at the Battle of the Bulge. Okay. Rough Swordsman War Gamer. On his Open the Box segment, GMT's Musket and Pike Dual Pack, an unboxing. This is a game designed by that wonderful guy, Ben Hull. Great guy. Great guy. Sci-Fi Central, there's 3 movies. Come on, you don't want to watch Conga? Well, how about Bigfoot? The Bigfoot Adventure Weekend. Or Meteor Apocalypse. Full movies. For free. For you. On Seek Out and Play with his lights. And the camera. Resist, let's get started. So this is a short video that explains the setup and turn sequence of the game. This video is designed to be used with the rulebook so you can follow along and start your first game. I've got to find out who that's from. On Simple History, one video. I know you see two, but that was 8 days ago. I already showcased it. So, deliberate, friendly fire. Really? Yeah. Stephen Doge's 6 videos out. All on the Korean War Designer Edition or Deluxe Edition, but I think it's Designer Edition. Turns 6 through 8 at the end, and then he does a campaign post-mortem. And the Korean War Scenario 3 and Scenario 4. They're all half hour. This guy's kicking hiney. Right? On Storm of Steel Wargaming, 2 videos, Bench Report Hobby Update, and O Group Crossing the Vire Battle Report. The Vire, or the Via. On STUKAJOE! This game, Donnerschlag. It evokes imagery. But STUKAJOE the Great, STUKAJOE, working with arrows and paths. I checked a little bit out. And, I mean, he's beyond me in terms of video stuff. I mean, I don't even want to go there because just me going there means I'd have to go back to 2 years of him teaching us stuff, how to do video. And anyways, he's teaching you here how to work with arrows, showing you where the chit goes, to following the path to the waypoint on STUKAJOE. Tank Zone, or Tanks Zone, Type 74 Armored Warfare tank review. I think this is a channel focused on PC games. The Board Game Chronicles, 2 videos out. Falling Sky, how to play it. He explains Falling Sky and how to play it. And Strange, or Storage I should say, Solutions, Almoravid. Both of those games by Volko Runke, published by GMT. On the Discriminating Gamer, 2 videos out. 1565, The Siege of Malta, and 1940 to 1942, Malta Besieged. Both games by Worthington Publishing. The Dusted Game Shelf, 5 videos out. He's unboxing Tang Garden, also unboxing Armada 2-player starter set, and the RPG Waffle Dungeons & Dragons Ruined in both past and present. And hobby modeling, for all you people who are into modeling, Boar's Head Tavern. Sounds like a Lord of the Rings kind of thing. And Dead Zone Miniature Collection. All this on the Dusted Game Shelf. And last but not least, Jeff McAleer of the Gaming Gang looks at Musket and Pike Dual Pack. Unboxing and first look, a game by that wonderful guy, Ben Hull.
Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to the Centurions Review, the punk rock band of wargame review institutions. This week we created 4 videos. One was an episode of Wargame Chat and the rest were reviews. On Wargame Chat we talked about the best qualities of the best game shops. We've been going to game shops since the late 1970s and have seen numerous examples of game shops either doing it right or doing it wrong. The first review we did was Market Garden 9 Megan Bridge from Victory Point Games. This uses the same base rules as Paul Koenig's other Market Garden games. It's simple to learn and plays fast. My only complaints is there are situations where you get an automatic hit on the enemy and supporting fires don't have much of an effect on the game. Next, we did a micro review of the minigame Ancient Rome from You Choose Books. In this choose-your-own-adventure style game book, you can play as either a rich Roman woman, or a poor Roman peasant. This game reads really quick and doesn't seem to have enough different paths. I think kids and people not familiar with Roman history will like it, but adults who are familiar with Roman history won't find it deep enough, and it's probably not going to keep them engaged. Last, we did a review of the game Wolf Roll and Write that you can download from Wargames Vault for $1.80. It's entertaining and plays fast, but it's not quite as good as my other roll and write games. Overall, it's still pretty good and certainly worth the $1.80 I paid for it. Thanks for watching and have a good day.
The 60s began with some big changes. First of all, there was another move for the company, this time to 209 East Fayette Street in Baltimore. Secondly, a man by the name of Thomas N. Shaw, a high school acquaintance of Roberts, was lured away from a local advertising agency that August. Shaw was to become a person of huge importance to Avalon Hill and to the hobby. Only one game was released that year, with the stirring title of Management. It involved 2 to 4 players in managing production, warehousing, and sales, taking into account the market conditions and competition. This was redone later on as business strategy. Unfortunately, it wasn't a big seller despite being utilized by many schools, including college-level business courses, and being the game that Roberts was most proud of. In 1961, the company moved once more to 6720 Whitestone Road in Baltimore, in an industrial park. With Thomas Shaw on board, production ramped up. The company released 7 games that year. Also, this was the year when the hexagon became the standard for wargaming, as evidenced by the releases. The first of these was Chancellorsville, a game recreating the Civil War battle of the same name. In late April 1863, the Union under Joseph Hooker confronted Robert E. Lee's Army of Virginia near Chancellorsville, a town in Virginia. Lee, though outnumbered, confidently attacked the Union Army, and Hooker had to retreat, resulting in a big Confederate win. The game recreates 3 days of the battle. This was released in conjunction with a new version of Gettysburg in time for the 100-year anniversary of the beginning of the American Civil War. The game is considered to be a solid but unremarkable effort, and most notorious for its graphic design, which did away with any aesthetic ideas and instead used purely functional colored hexes to depict terrain. For me, what was most memorable was the marketing material that asked, "Was Hooker a boob?" which always made me chuckle as a 13-year-old. In 1974, Randall Reed did a complete revision with a different game system, keeping the order of battle the same. However, Chancellorsville was quietly dropped from the Avalon Hill line in the mid-1980s. D-Day is a game that is ostensibly about the D-Day landings of June 6, 1944, but in reality it depicts the liberation of France from German occupation, as the actual landings are generally completed on turn 1. It is interesting in that the Allied player does not need to land in Normandy, but has a choice of where to attempt a landing, while the German player has to set up defenses not knowing where the Allies will attack. There was a lot of debate over the years as to what the perfect plan of defense was for the German side, if there was one. The full game can last up to 50 weekly turns, although it is doubtful a game ever took that long. This is a Charles Roberts design that was later reissued in 1965 after mapboard and rule revisions by Larry Pinsky, a real rocket scientist that designed many classic games for Avalon Hill. It was revised again in 1977, which added some welcome rules revisions by James Stoller, Richard Hamblin, and Don Greenwood, revitalizing the game's standing in the hobby. The box and the counters always remained the same. This was the first of what is now referred to as the classic lineup, and the first to use hexes as a method to organize movement across a mapboard. There was also New Chess, an attempt by Roberts to bridge the gap between chess and wargames in not only a generic way, but also in the abstract. Pawns were used as units, all of equal combat strength, and it recycled a lot of the ideas from other games like Tactics 2 and Civil War, like terrain effects and the combat results table. It isn't bad as an introductory wargame, and it was certainly intended to attract new players to the hobby, in an era when an overcomplicated game with lots of rules might have put them off prematurely. It remained in print until 1963, but is generally considered to be a failure. Verdict 2 was the first game officially made by Tom Shaw, which revised the first game, Verdict. Although it remained in print for 10 years, it was disappointing in sales numbers. Le Mans was the first venture Avalon Hill made into the area of sports. Designers Rodney Mudge and Scott Wright brought the game to life by revising an earlier design of theirs called Grand Prix, a sports car racing game from 1956. It was one of the first racing games ever made. You could choose from 12 different setups for your car that would dictate how many spaces you could travel in each gear and what gears you could use to turn safely. There were also different car specs for braking. There are rules for collisions, blocking, slipstreaming, over-revving, and pushing the envelope on turns, and you could even invite over a bunch of friends for a 12-player game were you so inclined. Overall, Le Mans was a decent game for the time, but in the end, the sales were disappointing. The aforementioned Civil War was a very abstracted strategic game that Roberts designed to recreate the Civil War on its 100th anniversary. As you might expect, it was played on a map with hexes and had the familiar combat results table to resolve combat. However, it did use pawns instead of counters in an obvious attempt to make it more accessible to new wargamers. Further to that, it apparently was even grouped in their family/social game line. It remained in print until 1963, but became quite scarce after that. Tom Shaw tried applying the mechanics of the game management to the transportation business in Air Empire. In the game, you have to establish air routes, expand by buying and operating planes, and put your competitors out of business. By most reports, it wasn't a bad game, though it focused more on the business side of managing spreadsheets than moving airplane counters around, and it could suffer from the so-called runaway leader problem, where an early lead could be turned into an unstoppable momentum by a player. Although it remained in print through 1963, it was not a huge hit. 1962 arrived and was mainly notable as it saw the expansion of Avalon Hill's sports lineup. Baseball Strategy and Football Strategy were both earlier designs of Tom Shaw, which he had designed, self-published, and marketed back in 1959, selling them in mailing tubes. Football Strategy used a brilliant game mechanic, a matrix that was used to cross-reference calls to determine the results of each play. This removed a lot of the luck and brought in an element of bluffing that is reminiscent of real football. The teams are generic, although you could choose from up to 3 styles of play, which could add some variety. The game got revisions in 1965, 1972, and 1980, but these were fine-tuning a successful idea. Avalon Hill even had its own internal football league at one point, using the game with 28 teams that played out the actual NFL schedule. The yearly franchise fee at the time was $31, which would be almost $300 in today's money. Baseball Strategy, which used a similar mechanic, has always been seen as the weaker of the two games. The baseball players were either generic and imaginary, or stats could be converted from real life into game parameters if you wanted to replicate games with real-life players. The defensive team would commit to a certain pitch, and the offensive team would commit to the strategy, like a hit and run, a bunt, or gunning for the fences. After cross-indexing these on a matrix, the result of the play would be determined. Baseball Strategy received new editions in 1973, 1977, and 1980, which sought to make it more realistic and competitive. But of course, wargames remained front and center. Waterloo was the second of the classic lineup, designed by Lindsley Schutz and Tom Shaw. It originally sold for $4.98, which is close to $50 today. The game sought to recreate the famous Battle of Waterloo, which pitted the French army under Napoleon against British and Prussian forces under the command of the Duke of Wellington, represented by over 160 counters. While it is generally considered to be a lot of fun to play and offers some nice challenges for both sides, it does not seem to be very realistic as a simulation. Sales numbers were surprisingly poor, but the game was kept in print a long time, and the rules were revised in 1978 to clarify some things and to address some play balance issues. The original game of Bismarck was another game by Lindsley Schutz, Charles Roberts, and Thomas Shaw. It had a double box size to make it more saleable, but it also made it more expensive at $5.98, which is about $55 today. The game is based on the World War II historical cat-and-mouse chase between the German battleship Bismarck, who is looking to break out and cause havoc in the convoy lanes of the Atlantic, and a large contingent of the Royal Navy who is looking to sink it. In the original game, the German player only had one counter, the Bismarck, and attempts to evade a number of Royal Navy ships on its way to sinking some convoys and getting away scot-free. In 1979, Jack Green and Mick Ull updated the game with state-of-the-art game design and a larger scope than the original. This updated version was the game that originally got me personally into the hobby. There was also a game named Jay-Z that I will mention here only for the sake of completeness. It was a private label game that was manufactured for WJZ TV Channel 13 in Baltimore, so they could use it in a promotion. Interestingly, the TV Adman's game, as it cries out from the box, is a collector's item, famously fetching around $2,200 on the website eBay on December 8, 2002. It lists for high prices due to its scarcity, but not for the game itself, which is a simple game of rolling and moving around a board, where players must get the highest score from landing advertising accounts and charging advisory fees. Avalon Hill began some experimentation in 1963, although most of it was not successful. The company began that year by experimenting with a line of affordable games for preschoolers that were designed by Tom Shaw. They were Imagination, What Time Is It?, Dollhouse, and Trucks, Trains, Boats, and Planes. Presumably because preschoolers can't read instruction booklets, these titles all failed to sell very well, and the games themselves have drifted into obscurity. But the year was not a total write-off, as this was when the game Stalingrad was released. The original design was once again Lindsley Schutz and Tom Shaw, and is considered to be another one of the classics, perhaps the most important one. At one point it was considered to be the most analyzed wargame in existence, and surprisingly, it never sold all that well even though it lasted a long time in the Avalon Hill lineup. Though Stalingrad was in the name, it was not focused on that locality, but instead the totality of the Eastern Front from 1941 to 1943. It tells the classic story that has been retold countless times over the years. A dominant German army enters Russia, struggles with the weather, and tries to reach Moscow. The Russian Red Army hangs on as best they can until the reinforcements begin to overwhelm the enemy. It's a classic historical tale, and for many this was their first truly compelling wargame experience. There were some small changes to the rulebook in 1974 by Don Greenwood to clarify some things and to address play balance. Word Power was the only other game released by Avalon Hill that year, by Tom Shaw. This was a game where players roll and move around the board, like Monopoly, playing word cards into the center based on what position the synonym or antonyms are on the card, trying to guess correctly. If challenged, a bidding war results, raising the stakes for the players. The winner is the first to 100,000 or to publish 10 books. It would be interesting to see how a game like this would fare today. Despite the bright spots, a growing hobby, some amazing games, and a strong staff, there were storm clouds on the horizon for the fledgling board game company. The end of 1963 would bring some great challenges and some positive changes, provided the company could survive long enough to see them. Please join us for the upcoming Part 2 of the history of Avalon Hill. Thank you for watching. This is Legendary Tactics.
Another week, another show. 5 years, one show a week, 52 weeks a year. Count it. Thanks for watching and putting up with me. And anybody who I slam it, I slam for fun. It's all in good fun. If anybody is ever offended, please get in touch with me and I will stop it. Like and subscribe, please. And become a patron. It really helps the cause. It really does. Don't forget the code at Noble Knight. RD Dookie, I think. Anyways, it's in the front. And pick up your copy of VS for Victory, Point Blank, because once it's gone, it's gonna pull a up front. You know what I'm saying? And he's got a lot of stuff on this, and I played it. Well, I was demoed it by Sean Drulinger when I went to WBC, the only time I went. And let me tell you something. It looks like a lot of fun. It's a tactical game, obviously. And I can't wait to play it with my son-in-law. Really, I can't, because he's into it. And we played Space Empires 4X last week. Well, a couple of days ago, I should say. And we had a blast. And we played the first scenario, the short scenario. And we got into the battles and all that, so we made all these mistakes, but we know now how to play it. It's not a difficult game. It's a game by Jim Crone, published by GMT, obviously. And it's a fun game. There's not that much bookkeeping for anybody to say, this bookkeeping, come on, give me a break. Yeah, lazy slobs. And, yeah, pick up the Point Blank. Check out the No Enemies Here. Well, No Enemies Here, for God's sakes. Noble Knight code, RD Dookie. And it's good till the 7th. It's Wednesday. Jump on it now. We don't know when it's going to come back again. Watch the everything you wanted to know about War Games We're Afraid to Ask. You're going to see Jess explain it to us. Her audio, I think, wasn't that great, so bear with us. And have a good weekend. Be nice. See ya.